objects.
Really?
Agreed.
Put it up against another.
And then,
Yeah,
were in
I
school,
remember.
It was
It's not even the shape.
Negative.
Mentally ill. Mentally
Did
insane.
a special effects agency. We are back here, Ethan Clerc podcast show, episode 89 tonight, back in the attic. Not as hot tonight as usual. We got the cold weather moving in, fall's moving in. Just a reminder to everybody to leave a review on iTunes, and we still are giving away the T-Win speaker. It is, we're getting a lot of reviews, but people aren't leaving their name, so we can't pick your name. We can't put your name in a drawing if there's no name to review. So unless
no
you wanna,
name, no prize.
someone was like Dog Mom or something. I don't know who these people are. So you got to leave a name. Otherwise, I'm just going to give it to somebody random. So we're still doing that. We'll extend it another week so that it is fair to everybody. This week, though, on the podcast, I kind of want to introduce this in a special way because when I was looking up this job, I figured out that it is one of the top 10 most dangerous jobs in the United States if you look at death per 100,000, and it is number 5 actually.
Danger.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we have a man here tonight who is in this job. He is a pizza delivery driver. We got Starf on the podcast tonight.
Hey,
Great to have you.
Oh, great to be here. Thank you so much.
Every
and-
time he clocks in, he's risking his life.
He is risking his life, and I have a bunch of stats here and stuff. But first of all, I want to kind of talk about how I found Starf and how this happened pretty quick. Actually, we just talked today, and then he's on the podcast now.
Oh,
so
things move fast in my life. You gotta stay on the ball.
yep, can't be late to the pizza deliveries. Now you're on the podcast, like you were here on time. I mean, we got to give you props for that.
Hell
You know,
yeah.
do people ever get mad at you for? Are you ever late? First of all, that's the first question. Are you late
To anything?
to deliveries?
To deliveries all the time.
Oh, really?
Every day.
Because Domino's has that tracker, right? I mean, I guess I put it out there. He's a Domino's delivery driver. Domino's has the pizza tracker.
No, I mean, it depends on what you mean by late, for sure, because it depends on what's going on. If a time frame is promised, I can pretty much get there on time. But a lot of people think I'm late because they order during a Friday rush and they expect it in 20 minutes. You know?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's not quite how this goes. I
Yep.
think most people, when they're ordering pizza, think that like we're all sitting there waiting for them.
Yep.
And they don't realize we have 50 other orders.
Oh yeah, especially
I
on a
was gonna
weekend.
say like Friday and Saturday night must be insane, like
oh, yes.
nonstop.
Especially in a college town like Cato.
Yep. Yeah. Let me tell you, pre-COVID on like a weekend with parties happening. Things have been a little more modest in that area now that the world's crazy, but it still does get pretty crazy. And a typical Friday or Saturday night can just be go go go.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. And I feel like being a pizza delivery driver is like one of the most like American iconic jobs. Like if you think back to like Domino's did their campaign where if it wasn't there, and I don't remember how much time it was, but if it wasn't there, the pizza was free.
Yeah, 30 minutes or less. That was what they said.
People were crashing so much, and I'm pretty sure they had to get rid of that. I don't know if someone got killed or.
I don't know the history, but I know that it just became unrealistic the more that things advanced.
Yep.
I feel like I gotta adjust this arm so I can see you a little bit.
Yeah, there we go. You can move it around, get comfortable.
There we go.
Here's what I found, though, about being a pizza delivery person. So like I said, U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, driver sales workers, which includes pizza delivery drivers, number 5, and it was for shootings, robberies, assaults, and car accidents were the reasons for delivery drivers dying. And the main issue was people were getting called. This might happen more in bigger cities, I'm sure, like Chicago, New York. People were getting called to construction sites or abandoned homes, and they were luring them in, stealing their car, beating them up, taking their money or whatever. And this became a trend almost. I remember hearing about this a couple years ago. It was happening somewhere, if it was St. Louis or something, and there was a bunch of Domino's delivery drivers that were getting like shot and stabbed. And that's why it is ranking up there so high, because there's people take advantage of people, and like a delivery driver would be one of those vulnerable people.
Yeah, I mean, if you have the ability, like if you are a nefarious type of person and you have a system that lets you just send a person alone to a location.
Yep.
That's a pretty easy thing to take advantage of if you were, wanted to be that guy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it's happened before. I have a these are some of like the recent, or like these are some of news articles that popped up here. So a female Domino's driver in a Bay Area suburb was robbed at gunpoint, taken to an isolated location, and sexually assaulted.
Oof.
In Linthicum, where is that, Maryland? A
Yeah,
driver
that's
was
Maryland.
swarmed by 4 guys with machetes. One of them pressed a blade to his throat. He gave up the loot. A Domino's driver was shot to death in New Orleans at the end of March. The second Domino's driver killed 6 months there. Killed in 6 months there. An Alabama driver was beaten with an inch of his life for less than $20. That's the worst
Insane.
part.
It's insane.
It's ridiculous. A driver in Houston got bloodied up, but this was old hat. In 2013, robbers stole the same guy's cell phone, then shot him in the elbow as he tried to flee. So this was a driver that had gotten shot before and is still a driver. If you were in an incident like that, would you still do it?
Yeah, I'd like to say no, but I probably would.
That's the craziest part. I was looking at other Reddit AMAs for Domino's drivers, and they're like, if something like that happens, would you guys still do it? And they're like, well, it's better than getting, a boss yelling at you all day.
Yeah, it's. I will say I would never die for Domino's. Like, if someone was like, "Give me that pizza, give me your money," like, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy though, because you don't see this kind of stuff happening to other fast food workers. This is
Yeah.
like unique to delivery drivers.
for the most part, yeah.
Yeah, I mean there are restaurants that get held up and stuff, but
You're gonna
Domino's
start hearing
drivers-
about the DoorDash drivers and the Uber Eats drivers.
That'll be like the future episode of the podcast. We're talking about DoorDash drivers getting held up.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing. So I'm seeing all this stuff here, and I'm wondering what would make somebody. I mean, obviously we're talking about the worst case scenarios. What made you get into delivering pizza? Because you said you were doing it for a long time.
Yeah, I've been delivering pizza like as of this September for like 9 years, which is
Dang.
a long time to do that.
Yeah.
Probably too long. But
I have to ask the question: do you love pizza?
oh yeah,
Hell yeah.
absolutely. Pizza. I mean, I don't know. It's a complicated subject to broach because on one hand, I do kind of play it up. The internet loves pizza. People like to make pizza a whole personality trait.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's just fun. But pizza is great. It's a great food. It's
Yeah.
easy to make. It's
Yep.
universally loved.
Yep.
So yeah, pizza's great. I actually, I'm wearing a sweatshirt right now, but I have a pizza tattoo on my
Really?
right arm. Yeah. Maybe I
Well,
can
then you
bust
must
that out
really
later.
love it.
So is that what made you get into delivering pizzas? Your love for pizza?
Not necessarily. So, actually, yeah, I was 21 or 2021, and a couple of my friends were delivering for Domino's, and
okay.
I was working as a dishwasher at a Greek cafe. That was my first job from 17 to whenever the hell I quit that. But my friends were working at Domino's, and they kept, having so much money, and we were pretty young at that time, so we didn't have too many responsibilities, and they were
Yep.
just constantly like, I have all this money from tips. I have constant money coming in. And I just thought, well, if my friends can do it, I can do it. Like this can't be hard.
Yep.
And, I was worried initially because I was like, I don't know this, I don't drive around and memorize my area. Like, what if I get lost? No, it's simple. It's
Yeah.
so easy. It's the easiest job in the world. And
So
then,
where did you start out doing it then?
in Maple Grove, which
Okay.
is it's a very nice suburb up in the cities. And
Yep.
that's kind of why I think I did it for so long and have continued to do it, because that's the thing is being in Maple Grove, delivering there, the tips are phenomenal. And so I was probably pulling on average, like including my hourly pay, I was probably making like $23 an hour.
Really?
So,
Wow.
And getting paid that much to drive around, listen to music, listen to podcasts,
Yep.
eat pizza. That's a good life.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I'm sure you get the discount too with on top of that.
Yeah, well, it's a discount, but it's free. You just take it.
That's awesome. So you started off Maple Grove. You jumped around. How many different pizza places have you worked at? Has it always been Domino's? Has it switched?
It's always been Domino's just
Okay.
because that's been the easiest. Once you work at Domino's, you can go to pretty much any Domino's and say,
Yep.
I've done it. Hire me. And
Hire on the spot.
pretty much every Domino's is always hiring. That's the secret. So yeah, I've delivered in Maple Grove. I've helped out in Rogers, which is right up there. Here in Mankato, obviously. And then I moved to Colorado for a year and worked out there in
Really?
Fort Collins. Yeah.
So you have experience in different states, different areas,
Yep.
different levels of people, whether that would mean how wealthy they are, the different ethnicities. So you kind of have a vast knowledge of delivering pizza.
yeah, and every town is a little bit different in various ways.
And what we're figuring out here with your blog is Mankato is kind of screwing you over.
Yeah, it's
This is how I found him here because of a blog post. What first of all, what inspired you to do this? Was it just the fact that you couldn't believe the numbers?
Yeah, so I had worked here like 5 years ago, and I remembered it being bad, but I didn't live here that long. I probably lived here about 6 months at that point, and then I got out and went to Colorado, and so whatever. And then when I moved back last year,
Yep.
I had already been writing down my stiffs just as a thing to do. I'm not even sure why I started doing that. It was just kind of an interesting thing to do to me. Like every time I got stiffed, I would write down what address it was and just kind of. Eventually, I was just compiling a list, and that became a list of if an order came in and I was like, I think I recognize that address. I could look it up, and if they were on the stiff list, I could be like, well, maybe they don't need a plastic fork, or maybe I can take a little bit of extra time to get there.
Give it to the new guy or something.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you can take your time, you can do whatever, and I mean, yeah, it is petty for sure, but I deliver pizza.
Do you
What
think
you want
you're
from me?
one of the only pizza delivery guys to like make a list, or do you think a lot of pizza delivery guys do that?
I feel like it's not like a novel idea. Like it's pretty easy to think like, yeah, let me just write down these lists. But everyone I've worked with who I've showed it to, they go, "You have a list?" So
They can't imagine it.
Yeah,
but at the same time,
and then they ask me, "Will you send it to me?"
Oh, really? No, you don't get the list. If anything, you should start charging people in the area that are delivering pizza for your top because you got all the stats of everything.
Yeah.
And you could charge Dominoes, you could charge Pizza Hut, whatever else there is in Mankato. You can make a little bit of extra money off of doing that.
I got the stats.
That's crazy though. That's what really intrigued me. And so you wrote this blog post, and this was on October 10th, which was 2 days ago, 1 day ago.
Yeah, a couple days ago.
Couple days
2
ago.
days, yeah.
And so you wrote a year of bad luck, and then you kind of explain a little things here, and we get to the number. This is the times 631 is the number of times you got stiffed in 1 year.
1 year.
That is unreal.
Is that last year, this year?
That's last October 5th to 5 days ago. Yeah.
Wow. And that, I mean, I was not, when I was reading, I wasn't expecting that to be the number.
It's funny because I've become so jaded doing this, not only for so long, but even just keeping track, that when I saw the number, I thought, that's it. It's like I couldn't figure out if it was
Really?
high or low because I've lived with the numbers so long. So
Yeah.
I didn't know what that number would mean to someone reading it who doesn't know.
Do you know how many deliveries you did in that year total?
See, that's the problem. I've gotten a lot of flack for this article. So I posted it on Reddit, a couple different subreddits, which is how you found it.
Yep.
And one of I posted it to my Facebook just for my friends, and one of them, unbeknownst to me, posted it to fark.com. I don't know if you're familiar with Fark.
I'm not familiar with it.
That's
no.
like old school internet. Like that's like a 90s
Really?
site that's still holding on. I never really used it, but I've been aware of it. And
Yeah.
so they've been around for a long time and therefore have a large community. And essentially it's just an aggregate of like links. It's kind of like a really stripped down Reddit kind of.
Yeah.
So it got accepted, I guess, and he sent me this link. It was like, hey, your blog is on Fark. And sure enough, I go there. It's been there for 12 hours, and it's got 200 comments and like 6,000 views, and people are tearing it apart.
I was
Oh,
going to
yeah.
say, I feel like there's probably a lot of trolls on there.
Well, it's mostly just angry nerds who they're like, you're not a statistician. You're not doing it right.
People got to rip apart every tiny thing. Like you did this out of probably mainly just to let the information out there, right?
Yeah, and yeah, it's the frustrating thing is they're not wrong. Like that's the thing. Going back to your question, I don't know how many deliveries I took total, and that would help a lot putting these numbers into perspective. I agree.
You could probably average out though. I mean, obviously we're never going to get the exact number because you didn't keep track, but you could probably average out. Because Domino's probably knows how many deliveries are done on an average on a Monday, on an average Friday,
Right.
and you can kind of figure out generally how many there are.
Yeah, and I actually, I did take a guess in the blog to try to put it in perspective where I would guess, this may not be accurate, but I would guess I take about 15 deliveries a day. If you put together the busy nights and the slow nights,
Yep.
probably about 15 a day.
15 a day. Okay. And how would that be for an 8-hour shift or how long?
That's about 8 or 9 hours, yeah.
Wow, really? I was expecting there to be more, but I guess I've never delivered before, so I have no idea. I mean, obviously you got to drive to the store, and then you got to pick it up, and then you got to bring it there, and then you got to drive back. Or do you pick up multiple pizzas and go out and do it? Like, I'm not familiar at all.
Well, yeah, sometimes And that's also that stat, 15 a day. That's like the last year. It's been, like I said, the pandemic has really slowed things down for us. So a lot of days have been just dreadfully slow where it's like, I might work an 8-hour shift and take, 8 deliveries. That's 1 an hour.
Wow.
Just because it's slow.
Yep.
But yeah, if it's busy, that is a thing that happens where it's like, oh, there's 2 deliveries, side by side up in, the corner of the map. Yeah, I'll take them both.
Yeah. And now in the article, you develop like a baseline for the stiff. It wasn't just nothing. You say it was less than 51 cents.
Yep.
So some people thought 25 cents would be reasonable for a pizza order.
People love to say keep the change, and the change is 8 cents.
Wow,
it
you
happens,
generous
it
guy.
happens every day.
You generous man.
I wouldn't have guessed. Yeah. Let me go fish out these pennies for you.
Yeah. And so when you're traveling, you've worked in these different places. How does Mankato stack up then compared to, let's say, Colorado or, Minnesota compared to Colorado?
See, Colorado was interesting because I got paid less than minimum wage. So that
really,
yeah, Colorado is one of those states where they can basically say, you make tips and therefore we can pay you less than minimum wage, and the tips will make up for that.
Really?
Because they really don't want you to live there, I guess, or like do that job,
That's crazy.
I lived in Colorado for a year in Fort Collins. I look back, I have no idea how I did it. Because not only did I pay my rent every month, I did stuff. Like I remember going out to shows and buying things, and I look back thinking I made like $4 an hour delivering pizzas, and the tips weren't even fantastic. So I don't know how I got away with that.
That's insane that they could do or expect you to live off of $4 an hour.
Yeah, and I don't, it was like 4 or 5, but yeah, it was less than minimum wage, and they were like, well, you'll get tips.
So they put you on the same pay scale as like a restaurant waitress. Is that
pretty
what it
much?
is?
Yeah,
that's insane. Wow. So were the tips better in Colorado then?
They were better than here for sure.
Okay, so
better than Cato, not better than Maple Grove.
That's exactly it. Yeah,
it's a
right
cultural thing almost, or something like what's going on where people in Mankato for some reason, because I'm assuming this number of stiffs is in Mankato is probably the highest you've ever had for working. Would you assume that or no?
Yes. So I started keeping track. Like I said, I started keeping the list of addresses that stiffed me before I got here. This wasn't a novel idea for Mankato.
Yeah.
I had been doing it in Maple Grove for, I don't know exactly when I started, but it was probably 2 or 3 years. That list is shorter in 2 or 3 years than this number.
Really?
So it took, Mankato skyrocketed past Maple Grove very quickly.
I'm just trying to figure out why Mankato. What in Mankato?
I mean, there's
is
a
the
lot
issue?
of college kids.
Is it college kids? Is
That's
that the issue?
Definitely a lot of it. It's interesting. So that was another response I got a lot from people on Reddit. Was that they would say only 631 stiffs. I'm also a pizza delivery driver, and you're lucky. And to be fair, there are places that are worse. It's not like my Dominoes is the bottom of the barrel.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I've even had people I'll talk about this at work, and I'll have people that say you should work at the other Dominoes in Mankato. It's way worse.
I was gonna say the one closer to campus is probably brutal.
But yeah, I think that is it. It's college kids for sure, which understandable. You're broke. You try to save money. I've been there.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what the rest of it is though, because like I said, I don't deliver to the campus. So I get a bunch of college kids, but I also deliver to the parts of town that are just suburbs.
Yeah, just regular people.
Yeah, just regular adult families who are trying to live their life in Mankato.
Who should know, and obviously there are some people who have a huge issue with the whole idea of tipping. Some people are just extremely against it, but I feel like there's a general societal expectation that people that deliver, waitresses, stuff there are certain jobs you just have a societal obligation. It's nothing that is written down, but it's one of those rules that we all kind of live by. You take one newspaper if you pay for it. It's one of those things. People should just know that. So I'm really confused as to where a family, regular people, just a suburban household would think that it would be, right to not tip anything or barely anything.
I couldn't tell you where it comes from or what it is. This is the final point. The Reddit post, a lot of it on Fark, turned into this where it basically just became the opening scene to Reservoir Dogs. Just lengthy conversations about whether tip culture is even good, or people telling me you're so ungrateful for it. But that's the thing about this blog post too, is I like my job. Like this blog post leans into the worst part of my job, and
Yep.
I play it up to be kind of comedic. It does suck, and all the numbers are real. They're 100% real.
They're very interesting.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
But yeah, I wrote it, kind of with a bitter slant because that's what the post is.
Yeah.
And so, I understand what my job is, and that I think I even said it in the post. Stiffs are part of the territory. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
I was just interested at how much and how frequently it was happening.
Oh, for sure.
It's more than I've experienced in every other location.
Yeah, and I think when I was reading it too, I wasn't reading it with the mindset of you bitching about it. I was reading it in the mindset of, this is an interesting thing because of how frequently and how much it happened in this one location in 1 year. And that's the way I could read it. But I could see how other people could read it saying, wow, this guy is complaining about it or whatever. Why doesn't he go get another? Why don't you get, I'm sure people, why don't you get another job?
Yep, I
Why
love
don't you work
the internet.
somewhere else?
The internet knows so much more about my life than I do.
Exactly.
It's fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they lambasted me. They tore in. Like, he's worked in pizza for 9 years. He's a loser. Oh, all right, dudes.
Yeah. All right, guys sitting at home commenting on something. It's one of those things where you can be really negative about something while still trying to find the positives in it. And that's, I feel like, what this is. People, hopefully by reading this, will have a better appreciation for delivery drivers and like the actual work that goes into it, especially after hearing in Colorado that you're barely getting paid anything. You know?
And I hope they do. I've seen that side of it too. I've seen a lot of people that are also, customers who are shocked to have read this, and they say, like, I always tip. Like, maybe now I'll tip even more.
Yeah.
And that's great. That's great to see.
That is. And the other interesting thing to me hearing about this is there was some very like big douches. There was one guy 10 times is what you wrote on here, right? 10 times?
10 times. That was, the official worst customer of the year.
Will you not go there if he calls anymore?
Oh, I mean, that's the problem is I have to.
You have to.
And it's sort of the honor system. Like, that's the way it works is if I go to work and we have, let's say, 5 drivers on right now. So basically I get in line. So it's like if I show up and there's 4 drivers in the store, okay, now I'm 5th in line.
Yep.
And we take the orders as they come in. So if that dude orders again and he's number 5, I guess I'm going.
God, I can't imagine
Do you know him by name now?
I do. I won't say it, but I do.
No, yeah.
If you're watching, start tipping right now.
Yeah.
He knows you.
And I'm surprised he just must not care because
He definitely knows what you look like now.
absolutely.
Can we ask how old he is? Is this like a younger kid? Is
this-
this an older man?
It's hard to tell. He's probably
Middle-aged, so we're just middle-aged.
I'd say late 20s.
Oh,
if
okay.
I were to guess.
Okay, I was picturing some older guy at home that just doesn't really care about anything or anybody.
No, yeah, I don't know what his deal is. It's not like I talk to him and hang out and be like, hey, what's your problem? But yeah, he must not have any shame or care because for him especially, like for a lot of people, I just let it go because you get stiffed. It's fine. But for him particularly, just because I hate him, I'm a little passive aggressive. I'm a little bitter.
Yeah.
I feel like I kind of show that when I deliver to him, and his order always comes up to $20.01, and he always has a $20 bill and a penny.
Really?
Every time.
It's that exact.
And like I said in this blog post, the chances to get stiffed by someone 10 times is astronomical because, like I said, you're in that queue. So, like he
must be ordering a lot of pizza.
He orders like every day, and I don't always get that delivery.
Yeah, that's the
So-
craziest part because you have on here 631, but from 425 unique addresses.
Yep.
So there's a lot of people on there that were I don't know. Do you have the other numbers like of people that stiffed you more than once? Was that okay? Repeat offenders. Here we go. So 95
I love
people.
that. That's awesome. You got all the stats.
And I thought it was very well done too. Here, there's the
95
guy right
people,
there.
I mean, Cato is shitty enough to stiff me at least twice over the course of the past year.
So there was more than 20 people that did it 3 times.
Yeah, I think it was like 26. It's funny too. I realized after the fact that these numbers are slightly wrong. I counted one of them wrong just because of the way I had the list laid out. And there were actually 2 addresses that stiffed me 10 times.
Really?
The reason that I did it wrong is that one of them was a hotel, so I looked at it incorrectly.
Oh, okay.
So there was one particular hotel. I guess I don't care about them. It was the Budget Host Inn.
Yeah.
I got stiffed 10 times at that location as well. But obviously that's
Wow.
different people. That's just if you're staying at a place called the Budget Host, you're probably
Probably don't have a lot of money.
strapped for cash. Yeah.
And then I like how you broke it down here. You have home or apartment, hotel 15%, home or apartment 85%. So obviously, I feel like Mankato's not like the tourist destination. I don't think you probably don't deliver to much hotels.
It's surprising. I actually do, and
really?
but usually they tip unless it's the Budget Host.
Okay, got it. And then you have stiffs by this one here is probably the one that is the most controversial.
This is the one that got me in trouble.
really.
This is what people were upset about this on the internet.
I can see where people, because I feel like there's this general idea that lower income people or minorities would tip less than white people, but that is not what you found in Mankato.
It is and it isn't.
It is and it isn't.
So
Okay.
to go back to the criticisms, this is what people said. I said it too. It does have to deal with the population because if you have, if I'm delivering to a ton more white people, that's more chances to get stiffed.
True,
right?
yeah.
So it does have to do with the population pool. And when I started the list, it was just something I was doing. I didn't go into this thinking like with making this post in mind. This is something that came to me like a month ago where I was like, it's a nice little bow. I'm gonna have exactly a year of data.
Yep.
Why not do something fun with it?
Yep.
Let's make a blog post.
Yep.
But I didn't have. People were telling me we need to know how many deliveries total of each race,
Yeah.
and it's true. It's true. But I will say, the reason I included this was because you hear that stereotype all the time.
Yep.
People say all the time. I've heard it from every coworker I've worked with. Like,
Yep.
oh, black people don't tip, or they see a certain like name and they go, oh, like they're not gonna tip, and
Yeah.
I'm like that's kind of fucked up, man.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, for sure. And I
and-
could see how get people riled up. I mean, you get people on either side, and people are right now with so much tension.
Yeah, and when I made this graph in particular, the stiffs by ethnicity, like these are just numbers. This is what
Yep.
happened to me.
Yep.
I'm not saying like I don't think the stereotype is good.
Yep.
I think anyone can stiff you. I think that this proves it. Regardless of, the statistical errors, it still shows that plenty of white people are stiffing me.
Oh, yeah.
Every day.
Yep, and it almost shows that because Mankato is definitely, I think, the majority or like the higher percentage of white. This probably backs up that it's equal to everybody. Like there's not one person or one group of people doing it.
Yeah.
And it may be the other part. Do you have age on here? I can't remember if you do not have.
I
age?
do not have age.
Okay, but for people that are listening, it was white 58.8%, black 30.6%, other 10.6%, and then down here, repeat offenders by ethnicity: black 48%, white 44.9%, and other 7.1%. And then you say you didn't have it by age.
No.
Okay, that'd be probably tough because this is all just you observing.
Obviously, I didn't survey everyone. Like they signed the receipt and put an X in the tip line, and I say like, all right, and then could you fill out this survey of your preferred ethnicity and age, please?
The crazy part is though, I guarantee Dominoes, because they have the app and everything, they know so much about people.
Oh, yeah.
They probably can pull out the numbers like that. Like they know. All right, 35-year-old white or 35-year-old Asian. This is exactly what they're going to order. This is the high, like, that's the craziest thing.
That's where I fucked up. I just needed to contact someone up the corporate chain.
You think Domino's will ever see this? Or you think there are pizza chains that will see this if it really takes off? Because, I mean, you have it on Fark. It's on Reddit. It's going around. People are hearing
how's
about
it doing on Reddit?
Well...
I mean, you're on a podcast now. Really.
Yeah, see, this is the craziest thing about this to me. I think it's it's riding the wave right now, maybe fizzling out a little bit, but like that, when you approached me, I was like, this is insane. Because it's all about the presentation. You know,
Yeah.
I made a nice looking blog post.
Yep.
If I made a Reddit post and just text posted this, I don't think you would have contacted me.
Well, I don't know. It's tough to say.
We're always looking for people. So.
I definitely have to give it to you. I thought it was well done.
I made a chart.
Yeah, charts. I mean,
Multiple charts.
multiple
yeah.
charts.
Props
I
to
think
you.
it was well written. I think
that's how you make people look at your stuff.
Yeah.
It's all about how you present it. I bought a website for this.
Yeah. Well, that's the specific reason was just for this.
This is on pizzaclues.com. I owned that as of 2 days ago.
Okay.
Link in bio.
Yeah, link in bio for sure.
Pizza Clues is a project that I've had boiling in the back of my mind for like 3 years now. Like I said, you brought it up. I love pizza.
Yep.
I think it's a good food, and I think it's a dumb culture. It's a dumb fun culture.
100%. Yeah.
Like there's pizza everywhere, and it's universal. And I thought I was looking into this, and there's no real central place on the internet for all your pizza entertainment needs.
No.
And I was like, I can do that. I can write blogs about pizza. I can review pizza places. I can find all those dumb stories you hear about, what's Pizza Hut doing? What's the new novelty thing?
Yep.
What's this guy made a pizza that's as big as a house?
Yep.
Whatever.
Yep.
I can aggregate those into one location on the internet.
That's a great idea. And so this is a brand new website, pizzaclues.com. You need to get, Dave Portnoy from Barstool?
No.
He reviews like every pizza place across the country.
Okay.
And he goes
He's
around.
the creator of Barstool Sports, which I'm sure you've heard of.
He's
I've heard the name.
Yeah.
He has an app called, I can't remember the name of it. It might just be pizza. I don't even know what it is, but you can go on there and it has like people can submit their reviews. It has his reviews, whatever. It's just all pizza reviews.
There we go. Yeah.
He loves pizza. He eats pizza from every restaurant, and he makes usually like a Twitter video, and he'll talk to like the owner or whatever, and he goes around and
that's like one aspect of kind of what I want to do with this.
because you have reviews on here. I saw that.
I do, yeah. I actually they used to be on a Tumblr, just because it was free and easy. So I'm porting them over to this website currently.
You got Politos on there?
Politos isn't on here, but it is on the Tumblr. So as I add them back in, it will show up. I have 51 places, I think.
Really?
Right now.
And these are all over the place.
They're all, yeah. I have a lot of places, obviously in Colorado. That's when I started it, when I was living there. Mankato, Maple Grove, and then I have like a few outliers. I have some in Chicago because you got to get the Chicago
for sure.
deep dish, whatever.
For sure.
I went to Groundhog Day in Punxsutawney a
Really?
couple years ago.
That's awesome.
There were some interesting pizza places out there.
I bet.
And then I have a couple of reviews from Vietnam because I was out there a couple of years
my.
ago as well.
How's their pizza?
Surprisingly good. Oh,
Really?
Do they make it like American style, or they got their own style?
it depends. I actually went to a Dominoes out there just to check it out,
Really?
and their menu is wild. Like they had,
I bet.
I got like a surf and turf pizza that had like shrimp and mayo sauce.
Really?
But like structurally it was the same.
Uh-huh.
And then I had another one at a fancier place that had, the regular pizza, like, American style. But then it had this weird ball of cheese on it that came in like some sort of sack that you cut open.
Really?
I'm not even sure how to describe it. There's a picture of it.
Wow.
It will come to Pizza Clues eventually once I get to
Yeah.
that point.
So you're going to keep working on it, keep developing it, put stuff on there. We'll have
Yep.
to follow up with that. That's crazy.
I'm sure you're gonna ask them about like crazy stories next, but I
Oh,
wanted
yeah.
to ask them. We were talking about like all the people tipping you zero.
Yep.
What's your biggest tip?
I have that question on here. What's the largest tip?
Oh, that's a good question. And I should also, if we're going to talk about how the bad side, we can talk about the good side.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Because 9 years, you've had to have had at least
there's-
one
yeah.
massive tip or somebody.
I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. I think, you'd think it would stick out in my head. I know I've had a bunch of 20s. Those are rare, but they happen. And I think the biggest one I got was $70 tip.
$70 tip.
It was on a huge order from like a company, like they were
Oh,
doing like a
okay.
whole company thing.
Yep.
But $70, that was a pretty big tip.
That's nice.
I think 50 is probably the biggest from like a person.
Yeah. That's really nice. Dang. And yeah, well, like you mentioned, Colin, going into stories, because one thing, people that deliver pizza, you go all over the place. You go to different, you show up at someone's door. It could be middle of the night, could be middle of the afternoon. You got to have, and especially after doing it for 9 years in multiple states, you got to have some crazy stories. So what are some of the things that stick out to you? What are some of the things that stick out to you from delivering pizza for 9 years?
It's funny because once you do it so long, it all blurs together and you start to become jaded to that sort of thing. But I definitely have a few, and I was thinking about this earlier because I figured you would ask. I think the the weirdest one, just the one that still throws me to this day. And this must have been like 8 years ago when I was just starting.
Yep.
But I got to this house and the order was just one stuffed cheesy bread.
Is this in Maple Grove?
This is in Maple Grove. So, if that guy's watching, shout outs to you. But he ordered just a cheesy bread.
Yep.
And I'm like, whatever. And I get there and it's a split level home. Knock. He lets me in. And I just kind of stand there and I hand him a clipboard with the receipt. And he takes it and he's like, I got to go sign this. And he runs off into the house. And I'm just standing there alone. And I'm like, that's weird. I have a pen, but he took off. So I'm just kind of hanging out and I look around and like directly to my left, it's like his living room area. And on his big screen TV just paused is porn.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, okay, it's also like 4 p.m. Yeah. It's like the middle of the day. Yeah. It's bright out. And I'm like, this guy is just watching porn.
Yep.
Whatever, you live your best life. And he comes back after like way too long. And he hands me back the receipt. I don't remember if he tipped me, but I hand him the cheesy bread and he just looks at me and goes, you don't even want to know what I'm going to do to this. And I was like, oh my God, like I hope eat it.
No way.
But he fucked that cheesy bread that night. I guarantee it. Like, there's no way he didn't.
People are going to ask 100%, has the stereotypical like retro porn thing ever happened where someone invites you over for some other intended purpose than delivering pizza?
Not for real, but they've taunted me with it. Like,
oh, really?
People, like it's happened where I show up and it's clearly a joke, and then it's some girl and she answers and she's like, "Did you bring the extra large sausage?" And I just hear 6 girls in the back laughing.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like,
that's awesome.
Not this time.
No one's ever answered the door naked.
Oh yeah, usually dudes.
Oh really? Oh my gosh! You don't get lucky enough to have a girl answer the door.
Only a couple times. It's rare, but it's happened.
Really? That's unbelievable to me.
Yeah, that's wild.
Okay, so we're going from
That's how lazy people are, though. They just can't put clothes on quick.
Oh,
yeah, and those
care.
are usually the drunken party nights for sure.
Oh really?
I had a guy. My favorite one. It was St. Patrick's Day. This dude. In a hotel, he came to the door with just a towel, and he was holding it with one hand, and he had to sign, and in his drunken stupor forgot he was holding it, so he just went to sign and just dropped it, and he goes, "Oh, I gotta tip you extra for that."
Oh, that's awesome. And talking about that, let's get into, so we talked about in the beginning right away, like dangerous stuff going on. Have you ever felt threatened, been in any situation where anything bad went down, or literally had to like ditch a delivery because something just happened?
Nothing insane has ever happened to me. Excuse me.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Knock on wood.
Yeah. Not yet. Yeah, that's why I got to get out while I'm ahead. I've had some like sketchy situations, but I'm usually smart enough to like not dive headfirst into them. Like if I see a house where it's like this looks weird, or I've had deliveries where I pull up and it's just like an abandoned looking building, like you were saying.
Yeah.
And I don't go in.
So there's no penalty from Domino's for ditching a delivery if you feel threatened.
No. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It's pretty much up to our own discretion. And like, usually in those situations, I have a phone number attached to the order. So I'll call them, see what's up, see if it's legit.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is, sometimes they don't answer or it's weird. So I just leave.
Uh-huh.
And if I go back and say like, no, I don't like that place, I'm not going, they're usually like, all right, cancel it.
Wow. And that's probably the thing that differentiates you from other people is it seems like some people go into it blind and don't know, like I'm going to show up at this abandoned house. No one's out front. There's a note on the door that says go around back. The door is broken or whatever. Like I read that on one thing. You go around back and it's probably not going to be the good people waiting for you back there to deliver the pizza. So you have that like that street sense where you know if something's not right.
Yeah.
And that's probably saved you.
Exactly. Yeah. So far it's worked out for me. I haven't. Nothing bad has happened yet. This isn't an invitation to start if you're watching this. By the way.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
I think the most in danger I've felt was when I delivered to a construction site, and it was the middle of. It wasn't like I thought I was going to get robbed. But I went to this construction site, and this dude was like, "Oh, follow me in here with the pizza," and passed a sign that says like "hard hat required," falling stuff. And I was like, "Do I need to worry about that?" And he's like, "Nah, just come on in." And I'm walking through, going like, "Am I gonna die? Is
There's
something
cranes
gonna fall
overhead."
On me? Yeah, like it was sketchy as hell. But I was like, I'll get in, get out real quick.
Yep. That's the thing about being a pizza delivery guy. You got to be like versatile because every situation requires like a different, whether you're at a hotel, you never know what's going to happen there. You're at someone's house. And does Domino's have any rule about you like going in, or is that not? I know like that can bring on another level of danger if you go in.
If there's an official rule, I've forgotten it.
So they don't. What you're telling me is there's really no like safety training from Domino's, really.
I mean, there probably was. I just haven't been trained in 9 years.
So they just trust you on your judgment for working there for 9 years. Because I'm reading. Let me tell you some of these other things I'm reading about. So, Jet's Pizza franchise in Detroit. They required every driver to travel with an armed escort after multiple drivers were getting shot, held up, and that didn't work because a driver was shot in the chest not too long after. So they stopped delivering.
Where was this?
This is in Jet's Pizza in Detroit.
Makes sense. Okay,
Yeah,
that adds up.
yeah, 100%. So they just stopped delivering after dark. Because I'm assuming that's when a lot of like the ill intent comes after dark, when people can get away with stuff.
I haven't delivered in Detroit, but I've been there a few times. I have friends out there.
Yep.
And I've seen the dark side of Detroit, and I would not deliver there.
No, it's dark for sure. Another one, St.
tough
Louis.
city.
It is, yeah. St. Louis, their PD has undercover pizza delivery men actually, because in 2 months, in 2 months, 2 drivers were shot. So they started having St. Louis police deliver the pizza, and they actually made multiple arrests because people were not trying to get pizza. They were trying to do other stuff. Someone pulled a gun out on the police officer. So these are things that happen. The other one, Dayton police conduct, because Dayton, Ohio, apparently is a hotbed for pizza delivery guys getting their shit rocked. Apparently, Dayton police conduct pizza driver safety trainings. Courses for the delivery drivers.
This is wild. Like I feel so safe in the places I've delivered now. And it's I've had people from Maple Grove that are like, "Oh, you're going to Mankato, like be safe there," and I'm like, "It's Mankato." People that clearly have not left Maple Grove.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
but yeah, it's fortunately for me, everywhere I've worked has been pretty safe so far. Like the worst thing in Mankato is that people just yell at me a lot.
Oh, really?
That's what I get more of here is there will be drunk people and they'll scream at me.
Oh, 100%.
And I don't feel as in danger. I just feel annoyed. I had a guy recently, he was like walking down the street, and I, obviously I'm back and forth from the store.
Yep.
And I don't know where he was going, but over the course of 4 hours, I saw him walking through Mankato all over the place, and I just happened to keep passing him. And every time I had my windows down. This was a few months ago when it was warmer.
Yep.
And every time I drove by, he would just go, "Fuck you, Dominoes." and I was like, I don't know this guy.
Yeah.
What's your deal with Dominoes?
He's got this personal vendetta against Dominoes.
I guess so. Yeah. He was so mad at me.
That's funny. I was going to ask you, have you ever, because Mankato's kind of known as like a drunk town. It's in the top 10 drunk town list every year. What have you ever had anyone like attack you or try to fight you or like, steal or like do anything bad to you that's just, you're like, this guy's messed up, or like he's way too drunk?
It's the opposite. They love me because I'm bringing them food. And
True.
Most of the time, it's the opposite problem where they're like, "Come on, you got to take a shot with me." And
I was gonna say,
and
anybody
I'm like,
ever offer you alcohol?
Almost every weekend, and I always say, like, "Do you know what I do for a living?"
You gotta get back in the car.
Yeah. I'm not gonna take a shot and then go drive for work. Like it feels like entrapment. Like I'm gonna take a shot and they're gonna call the cops and be like, "This guy's drunk driving. I just saw it happen."
Yep.
I've had
crazy.
I've had people offer me beers, and if they give me a closed bottle, I'll take it and be like, "Yeah, I'll take this for later."
Yep.
Recently, that happened where a guy he had a case and he was already gone.
Oh, yeah.
And he asked me if I wanted a beer. I said, "Sure, I'll take it."
Yep.
He pulls it out and starts to like open it, and his friends are like, "Dude, don't open it for him."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, I'll just take it for later, man."
I am gonna admit that there was one time we were at my buddy's place in Mankato, and the Domino's delivery driver showed up. It wasn't you; it was somebody else, and we offered him a pull from the bottle, and he actually took it. Like it was a pull of Fireball or something.
Definitely, he was a college kid.
Oh,
too.
100%.
I mean, and it definitely does happen. I personally would never drink on the job.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And that's weird to me though, because if I'm gonna drink hard liquor, it's gonna be to get drunk.
Oh,
you know. So I don't want to just take a shot for my night.
Yeah.
And
Ooh,
then
fireball. I'm back on the road.
yeah,
back
like
at work.
tasty. My favorite refreshing treat, a fireball.
Warm fireball too. And I'm like,
But I get it. You know, you want to have fun.
Oh, yeah.
You want to do it for the story and
Yeah.
tell everyone back at work.
Yep, yep. I get that. And we talked about the bad and we talked about the good. What are some of the excuses or do people just not even say anything? If, someone you pay them or they pay you, obviously. Obviously you're not paying them. They pay you, but they don't give you a tip. Are there excuses like, oh crap, I don't have any cash on me? Or
That
what
does
is the
happen
most
a lot.
popular excuse?
It's not as much of an excuse, but the most popular phrase is, "Oh, I'll get you next time," and they never do.
Clearly.
Then they end up on the 10 list.
Yeah, they end up on the 10.
Yep.
The 10 guy. He probably doesn't have an excuse. He's just like,
he
here
doesn't-
you go, buddy.
He doesn't even say anything.
Oh, really?
I think he might. He stiffs me a lot. He might be dead inside. I think he just needs this pizza to get through life. And
Really?
He just kind of comes up and silently hands me the exact change, and
Yep.
that's it.
Wow. And now with COVID going on, what are the changes? You were talking about contactless delivery. What are the things you guys have to do with COVID to prevent anything?
It's funny. A lot of my coworkers are pissed about it because people hate change. I get it. I actually love it. So the main thing we do is the contactless delivery, where we have these things called pizza pedestals. I don't know if you've ordered Dominoes recently.
No, not recently.
So it's basically just a little box platform that we set on the ground to put the order on top of, so that we're not setting the food on the ground.
Yeah.
So I just set a pedestal down. I set the food on the pedestal, knock on the door, and run. And it saves me time, because that's one of the things too about delivering that people don't usually think about. Where there's so many deliveries I take where I'll get there and people are not home, or they don't answer the door, or something's going on.
Yeah.
And then I'll get. That's also, what plays into that average, 15 a day, where
Yep.
it's like I could be at a delivery for a long time just trying to get a hold of the person that
True.
ordered.
Yep.
And there's been times where, I'm, sometimes you just leave if it takes too long.
Yep.
But like I've been holed up at a delivery for up to like 15 minutes just trying to get the
Really?
person to get to their home.
Yeah. So
You
this.
think if they order the pizza, they're ready to eat.
You would think that, yeah. People don't think that. I've heard it all. I've had people say they're in the shower. I called them once. I was like, I'm at your house. They
Yep.
were like, oh, sorry, I'm at the grocery store. People aren't thinking.
So with the contactless delivery, the tip is all through the app or the online.
It can be, yeah, and that's kind of the thing where it's like if they've pre-tipped on the card, which is a thing that a lot of people do.
Yep.
Then I'm good to just drop it and run.
Okay.
A lot of people will leave like an envelope of money out by their door, taped to the
Oh.
door, and then I just take it and leave.
Yep.
So
People
it's
are,
a lot of that.
People are probably wondering if they tip you on that. How does Domino's keep track of what's your money and what's other? Or do you guys take it and split it?
So basically, every driver, like if I'm delivering and I get a credit card tip,
Yep.
that just goes pretty much into a computer because the system knows I took that delivery.
Okay.
So it's all keeping track of it internally.
Yep.
And then cash, every time I get back to the store, there's like a locked box and everyone drops money in their own box.
Oh,
and at the
okay.
end of the night, you take your cards, you take your cash, you count it up, and
Yep.
they say, you made $60 in tips. Here's $60.
Wow. Okay. So that's a good thing. So if you do tip on the app, you get all the money. Domino's isn't siphoning out from that.
No, yeah.
Okay.
Cash is better because it's not taxed.
Oh,
The
yeah.
credit card tips, they're reported or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert on that. I've never
Yeah.
looked into it, but cash is always better. But the credit card tips do all go to the drivers.
That's good. Okay. Well, we know that. You did bring something very interesting. You showed up
Yeah,
tonight with this.
Yes.
I want to show this to people. People
Not
that
a
are
brick of
listening.
money.
This is insane.
So yeah, I'll cover that because that has an address on it. But yeah, this is. I don't know how well this is picking it up, but these are deliveries. You can see there's like a sticker here.
Yep.
And each sticker is one delivery. And this is a brick of just those stickers. And actually, if you want to take a look at this, those numbers are
Can I
tips.
hold that?
Yeah, it's heavy.
Oh my gosh, it is heavy.
And yeah, so that's how I keep track of it as I'm delivering. That's why I have it. It's not just for fun.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I totally thought that each one of these was like this big. These stickers are probably like the size of like a envelope or like a label,
Yeah.
a label.
Yeah, there's a lot of deliveries in there.
I thought this was one label.
Oh no.
This is insane. Colin, you want to hold that thing?
Yeah, I do.
Holy cow. And you said that was from how long of
that's
working?
I don't remember when I started that one, but I'd say that's about a year old. I feel like I started that here in Mankato.
That is nuts. That is actually crazy.
So,
that is crazy.
That
And
is
you
wild.
have more of these, you said, right?
oh yeah, well I used to. I throw them out every once in a while. The biggest one, like this is. I don't want to set it down. It might break the table. But like, that one's probably like this thick. I think I had one that was about this thick before it just snapped in half, and I got sick of carrying
Holy
it
cow.
it just kind of sits next to me in my passenger seat, and then
Yep.
I just add a sticker right down my tip. That way, at the end of the night, I know how much I made. And
Yep.
Yeah, it's insane, and I guess it's a Maple Grove thing. I'm sure like plenty of people do it, but I got that habit from Maple Grove. And people in Maple Grove, they have crazy ones. Like mine's just a brick. I've seen people do them in triangles or like work them into like
Really?
shapes. And it's funny because when I showed up at the Mankato Dominoes, I pulled out this brick, and everyone at the Domino's was like, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
went, "These are my deliveries," and they went, "Why?" Because most people just, they have their stickers for the day and then throw them out.
Yep. That's crazy. When you brought that in, I had no idea what it was. I'm like, what is that? What's he carrying? What is that weird looking brick? Is that a brick of money? Like,
You didn't even have to fill in an application. You just set that on the table.
Yeah.
No, you're hired.
I got 2 bricks from last year.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
crazy. And these are the cool things. Like this is the part of the reason I wanted to get you on. I saw the blog post, but I knew there's all these nuances about being a delivery driver, and they get to see all the bad parts of society. They get to see all the good parts of society, and they get to see everything in between.
It's a wild job.
It is.
And like I've said, once again to the people that are like, get a better job, or like, why have you been doing it so long? I like this job.
Yeah.
It's a ton of fun. I wouldn't be doing it for the song if I wasn't surviving on the money.
Exactly, yeah.
Obviously, I am trying to transition out of this into a more professional career, but it's a fun job and it's a good time, and it's the things you see and the stories you gain along the
Yep.
way. And the weird thing is, like, if you're in a delivery, I almost said outfit or costume, like a uniform,
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
official uniform. If I'm working and I have a pizza,
Yep.
most people will just let me go anywhere.
Really?
I've been in places I probably shouldn't have been.
Yep.
Like I delivered to, was it like the news building up on,
Oh, KUIC.
that's the one, and
Yep.
they just opened the door that said employees only and said, like, go in that way.
Really?
And I was just wandering through the building. Like, I shouldn't be in these rooms, but here we are.
It's like the badge to anything. It's like
Pretty
you
much.
have a pizza delivery box and you're wearing the uniform.
You're
You can get-
basically a cop.
You can get into you can get into the Super
Yeah,
Bowl.
I'm like a cop that people like.
There you go. Well,
And on that note, I think this is one of the weirder ones I just remembered. I delivered to a hospital, someone giving birth,
no,
and she was the one that ordered.
really,
And like she had just given birth like within the hour, and I walked in. She's holding a baby, and I have a pizza for her. And I got there, and this is one of those things where I said, like, I'm here for
That's
this room or
crazy.
whatever.
Yep.
And the people at the hospital were like, I guess go ahead.
what? That might be like my favorite story that I think I've heard so far from
It's-
pizza delivering.
yeah.
Someone just gave birth, and you're there with a pizza for
You're the
them.
godfather to the child.
I wouldn't have been surprised if she said that
Can you cut the umbilical cord with your other?
with the pizza cutter.
There we go. Well, I really got to thank you so much, Star, for coming on. This has been a lot of fun.
Hey, thank you.
I've learned actually a lot. Like I never thought that there'd be so much to learn from like a pizza delivery guy, but there is. Everyone has these unique jobs, and you can learn stuff from anybody. So I really appreciate you coming.
Absolutely.
Major props to you for taking the stats and all that. It's cool.
That is
cool
awesome.
stuff to look at.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we are
thank
definitely
you.
going to share the blog on all of our Facebook, Instagram, stuff like that for people. And we're going to put a link to pizzaclues.com. Everyone should check that out as you're going to keep updating it and post more stuff.
I am. And to everyone who said that I did it wrong and my stats were bad, I have good news for you, but you're going to have to wait another year for that.
oh, you're working on the newer one.
This time I'm going into it, and I figure I'll do it right.
Wow, so you're going to keep like really detailed stats of everything.
I'm going to try to. Yeah,
That's awesome.
I still haven't worked it out, but I'm going to try to start tomorrow and kind of work out exactly what I'm looking for tonight.
Wow. Well, maybe we'll have to get you back on and talk about the next year review of pizza deliveries in Mankato.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Star, for coming on. This has been awesome. To everyone watching at home, make sure you leave those reviews on iTunes so you can win the brand new speaker. Other than that, you can subscribe, leave us a like. If you have any comments of people you'd like to get on or topics you'd like us to talk about, we're always looking for your guys' suggestions. So thank you very much. This is the Ethan Clerc Podcast Show.
Objects.
I've got a great.
That's if.
And then
Yeah, I remember.
It's not even the shape.
Negative.
Mentally ill. Mentally
Did a special effects agency.